first shooting casualties on day 2 of Operation Restore Hope. U.S. forces fan out and dig in. In Little Rock, the president-elect makes his first cabinet appointments. We'll have an evening news reality check. And growing support in America for a ban on baby walkers. We'll tell you why.
It's not worth seeing a child go through a terrible accident, and it's so much stress on a family you can't even imagine.
This is the CBS Evening News, live from the main U.S. Marine base at Mogadishu Airport in Somalia. Dan Rather reporting. Good evening. After a day of soaking monsoon rains, tonight the moon is out and full, the sea breeze up. This airport has been roaring and whining all day and into the night. Day 2 of America's effort to save Somalia. Men and personnel and equipment are pouring in here. Reinforcements of the Marines are to arrive at first light this morning from Camp Pendleton, California. And some of the first shooting casualties, Somalis, were flown this evening to a U.S. Navy ship for medical treatment. First French, then U.S. troops were involved in a shooting incident tonight. The official version is a truck full of Somalis accelerated at a checkpoint. The French took that to be a possibly hostile act, opened fire. U.S. forces then followed with fire. 2 Somalis were killed, 7 others wounded, 2 of the wounded seriously. The only weapon found in the truck turned out to be a large knife. U.S. forces evacuated the wounded.
We loaded them aboard CH-46 Sea Knight helicopters here, Marine helicopters from the amphibious task unit offshore, and flew them to the Tripoli.
Back on land, flares popped over the capital as U.S. forces reported trading fire with gunmen near another checkpoint. No Americans were hurt. Meanwhile, it was learned the Americans have quietly extended their reach inside Somalia. 60 miles inland from Mogadishu, Army Special Forces secured the largest airfield in the country, easily overwhelming a small security force of Klan gunmen.
They threw down their weapons, they did what they were supposed to do. Everything went real smooth.
The Somali guard said they were shocked. We came to greet them, he says, to turn over our base, but the Americans just take our weapons. This Soviet-built base is large enough to land the biggest American aircraft. Today, Air Force engineers were testing the ability of the runway to handle the heaviest loads of transport and cargo planes that will bring in masses of food and Army troops.
Charles CCT, this is Tailpipe Bravo, over.
On day 2, the Americans are beginning to set up forward bases inside Somalia. Relief workers are increasingly frustrated about the pace. The enormous task of trying to reach all the starving people in the interior still lies ahead. The Marines moved out a bit today from their dug-in positions here at the airport and at the nearby harbor. They're beginning to get acclimated to the environment and its threats. Bob Simon reports.
It didn't look like a feeding program at the Mogadishu port today. Marines were coming under fire. There was a sniper in the hills. The patrol went to flush him out. As soon as the Marines ventured outside the gates, another burst of fire sent them scurrying for cover. They retreated and regrouped. Then they tried again.
Hey, close it up!
It was the first foray outside the port for some of these men. They'd been briefed about Operation Restore Hope, a humanitarian operation designed to save starving children. Now they were getting their first look at the reality of Mogadishu.
It's a very difficult environment for them. It's probably worse than being an actual war because you don't know really what's going to happen.
The Marines quickly became Pied Pipers, but no one was smiling. They didn't find the sniper, of course, but other patrols found a wide variety of weapons, old and new, American and Soviet. Back inside the port, some Marines were hunkered down in containers, others in a warehouse where there should be food. Club Mogadishu, the Marines are calling the port. It gives new meaning to the term God-forsaken.
You never know. This place is a mess. Shame.
Snipers aren't the only danger here. Lance Corporal Garcia Gonzalez became the first American casualty, stricken apparently by one of the countless bugs that slide here. He was medevaced back to the ships. The airport today was receiving more brass than food. The Joint Task Force Commander, Marine General Robert Johnston, flew in from Camp Pendleton. He had just arrived, and he was still smiling.
I think we're doing well. We're on schedule, and the security situation is just about what I thought it would be right now.
There had been no fire at the airport. The Marines here were still in the hearts and minds business, trying to implement crowd control through gentle persuasion, using that international symbol of friendship, give me 5. The French don't bother with hearts or minds. They know this part of the world. They used to own some of it. They use a different approach. Gentlemen of the French Foreign Legion have neither flak jackets nor strict rules of engagement. In Mogadishu, they always assume the worst and are often right. They were carting away weapons all day long. The first blood was shed tonight, and a few assumptions are changing. The conventional wisdom was that the Americans and the Europeans would be welcomed at first, that trouble would start later. Later has now begun on day 2 of the operation. Bob Simon, CBS News, Mogadishu.
Here in Mogadishu, the 2 main clan leaders or warlords of this city have agreed to meet tomorrow at the U.S. Embassy. This is the first time they've met face-to-face in more than a year. U.S. officials choose to take that as a sign of hope. But phase 1 of the operation is facing some obstacles. Alan Pizzi has a report on that.
Only a few days ago, this was the quickest route to the airport. It's a small example of how bad things are in this country and how quickly solutions must be found.
Most of the roads are unpaved, and so this weather might become disastrous for further action which we have to take in the interior parts of Somalia.
U.S. Marines joined French paratroopers manning roadblocks today looking for guns. It's the kind of action ordinary Somalis said they wanted. Instead, it's become part of a growing crisis of expectations. As reports of a spate of armed robberies sped through the rumor mill that is the main form of mass communication here, good-natured cooperation has begun to turn to resentment. Somalis have learned to survive any way they can, and the word is that ordinary people and thugs alike are simply hiding their guns. Aid agencies who hoped the Marines would be their salvation are also angry. A senior official said there was widespread dismay at what he termed the illogical deployment of the Marines, because it merely forced gunmen who loot relief supplies to move into other areas. In the last 2 days, several relief agencies have had their cars robbed, and the drivers from one organization have refused to work until they get their own guns back or the Marines protect them. But the Marines are busy with their own security, so late today, aid agencies reached a deal to use armed guards again. That was the only good news today for those in need. This camp is in the middle of Mogadishu, and the people don't have enough clothes to keep warm in the rain. Even feeding centers barely halfway between Mogadishu and the hardest-hit famine areas still operate on a day-to-day basis. And the Marines aren't expected to come this way until at least the weekend. Alan Pizzi, CBS News, Mogadishu.
We'll have more from here in Somalia later on the CBS Evening News. Coming up next, Connie Chung in New York with the rest of the day's news, including President-elect Clinton's first cabinet appointment.
This man's incredibly close, comfortable shave comes from the Norelco razor. But to see how he got it, we must go back to when he began shaving. Not just above the skin, but below it. Here, our lift and cut system lifts the hair so when it's cut, it can drop below skin level without the blades touching your face. Try it, and you'll keep going back to Norelco for a perfect shave. Norelco, we make close, comfortable.
At first, it was just a cough, but by 3 o'clock, it was the flu, and Lisa Harry knew enough to get home fast. To Theraflu, serious hot liquid medicine. Doctor recommended Theraflu. Your flu misery stops here.
Where do tasty Sunsweet pitted prunes come from? Well, prunes grow on trees, but not prune trees, plum trees. Because all prunes are plums, but not all plums are sweet enough to be Sunsweet prunes. Aren't you glad you asked?
Bill Clinton was elected president on a promise to fix the economy. Voters said it was their top concern. He says it's his #1 priority. And today, in his first major appointment, Governor Clinton named a team to do the job. Susan Spencer is with the President-elect in Little Rock. Susan?
Connie, as expected, the President-elect named Texas Senator Lloyd Bentsen to be his new Treasury Secretary. And Clinton said his new economic team, 4 men and 1 woman so far, shares a sense of responsibility.
They are deeply aware that we must not be the first generation of Americans to leave a worse economy to our children.
And Bentsen said the team starts with a double handicap.
In effect, what we're talking about is lagging investment and unbalanced budgets. And we're determined to cut both down to size.
Investment banker Roger Altman will serve as Bentsen's deputy. Another banker, Robert Rubin, will run the new National Economic Council to coordinate policy. And 2 of the most fervent deficit cutters in all of Washington take over the Office of Management and Budget. Congressman Leon Panetta to head it, and economist Alice Rivlin as his deputy. Both had blasted Clinton's economic plan during the campaign.
The reason I selected them was in spite of the fact that they have at times disagreed with me, I want people who the Congress will believe are giving them good, honest numbers, are committed to long-term deficit reduction.
Panetta sounded, in fact, as if that middle-class tax cut of campaign days may be fading fast.
First priority is to develop a long-term deficit reduction plan, combined with the kind of investments that have to be made within our own society. And then at that point, we would look at other issues like a middle income tax cut.
Though winning high praise from Wall Street for their knowledge of how the system works, to some critics, Panetta and Bentsen look just too much like the system and not gung-ho enough for new programs for investment, training, and education.
If that is undercut by having deficit hawks in powerful positions in the White House, then I think the Clinton presidency is going to be in trouble.
The process of deciding who is picked is still murky, though it's clear that Mrs. Clinton has a huge role. What exactly is it?
Well, I'm not prepared to define a role in the White House yet, but I will before long. She advised me on these decisions, as she has on every other decision I've made in the last 20 years.
Tomorrow, sources say, will come announcements on the Environmental Protection Agency, Health and Human Services, and the Council on Economic Advisors. And, Connie, we are told that all of those jobs will go to women.
Susan Spencer in Little Rock, thank you. President-elect Clinton says he's taking a new approach to government. How does that square with his choice of an old Washington hand for Treasury Secretary? Lloyd Bentsen, his name may soon be on your cash. Tonight, correspondent Eric Ingberg takes a reality check.
Candidate Bill Clinton sounded at times like he saw Washington as a sewer and himself as a roto-rooter.
I want to shake things up in Washington, to do things differently, to clean up the system and fundamentally change.
It sounded like he was for change. The selection of Bentsen, epitome of the old guard, is a leap so far from that campaign rhetoric, Washington watchers have their sincerity meters ticking.
This is safe change. It's change without turmoil. It's change without change. Senator Bentsen is the consummate insider.
Few would challenge that. Bentsen, first elected to the Senate while Clinton was in law school, is one of the genuine barons of a hill who has used his committee chairmanship to win tax breaks for business and the rich. His name rings a bell with the corporate biggies Clinton is trying to reassure. Ask Big Oil.
I think that the oil industry and business generally think that President-elect Clinton has picked a man who is a real statesman.
Ask Big Business.
Has there ever been anything that Lloyd Bentsen, as Senate Finance Chairman, has fought for that put him at loggerheads with corporate America?
There have been, but I can't think of them at the moment.
Once the #1 recipient of contributions from the PACs Clinton has pledged to tame, Bentsen's coziness with lobbyists broke into embarrassing headlines 5 years ago. When it was disclosed he was hosting breakfast meetings open only to those who had raised $10,000 for his campaign. With the election won, Clinton has a new constituency to woo. Not the voters, but the power brokers on the Hill who can derail a president.
He appoints someone who is trusted, credible, and then clearly, if you want to take a page out of history, he doesn't do what Jimmy Carter did, which is, of course, bring someone to the economic positions, Treasury, OMB, who is unexperienced with Congress and unsympathetic to their concerns.
One appointment doesn't make an administration, but this one is symbolically telling, showing a Bill Clinton who is just as likely to be pragmatic pal as champion of change. Eric Engberg, CBS News, Washington.
One other political note tonight. 5 weeks after losing the election, President Bush is suddenly popular again. Half the people surveyed by CBS News and the New York Times this week said they approve of the way Mr. Bush is doing his job. That is his highest approval rating in more than a year. Coming up next on the CBS Evening News, danger on wheels, a warning from doctors about baby walkers.
Imagine a rent-a-car company that offers special delivery right to your door. That's Enterprise.
Here, let me help you.
Enterprise, a special rent-a-car company that gives you special delivery.
A kiss? No, I'm sorry. I don't think so.
Oh, no, please, no, baby, no.
Oh, not a good idea. Not now.
No, bad time.
Fight morning breath with Scope. Scope has 2 powerful ingredients that kill 90% of the bacteria that cause morning breath.
Your kiss is ready. Pucker up.
Right on the kisser. Come on.
Kiss morning breath goodbye with Scope.
Give me that kiss.
Oh, yeah, we're going to twist. Tater twister, big surprise. Captain Shane, some curly fries.
Presto Tater Twister Electric Curly Cutter cuts potatoes and other vegetables automatically into curly cuts. Fry some crisp curly fries, onion strings, zucchini curls too. Tater Twister pays for itself in the money it saves. Even spiral cuts, potatoes with a new twist, nutritious hot dishes, fancy things. Clean up fast, easy, fun.
Tater Twister!
And Pro Tater Twister.
Everybody needs some
$12 for every mile over the limit.
That's $300.
You can add fast, too. Next.
To send someone money fast, call 1-800-CALL-CASH or come to any Western Union location. Western Union, the fastest way to send money.
Could your children get sick today from something you did almost 20 years ago? Meet Jema. That's what she thinks happened to her family, and she's not alone. Street Stories with Ed Bradley tonight.
More than 2 million baby walkers are sold in this country every year. They allow babies to move more freely before they can walk. Now the American Medical Association is calling on the government to ban them because in too many cases, baby walkers are a step toward danger. Rita Braver has been investigating.
Little Mikey Staley still wears a neck brace from a fall he took 2 months ago in his baby walker.
And he was in his walker, and he came over here, and off he went. That's how he ended up.
Mikey fractured his neck, spent 6 weeks with metal pins screwed into his head. And even though the baby in the carpet commercial wreaks havoc without getting a scratch, more than 30,000 children were hurt in walkers last year.
In Canada, walkers are considered so dangerous, they're not even sold anymore. And here in this country, not only the AMA, but also the American Academy of Pediatrics and consumer groups are asking the U.S. government to ban walkers.
We've just been struck here at this hospital with the inordinate number of children coming in with serious burn injuries and serious head injuries associated with baby walkers.
But lots of parents and some daycare centers rely on walkers.
They're convenient for us. The children enjoy them.
And manufacturers are fighting the ban.
Most people use them properly. Most children do not get injured in walkers. Most injuries that occur with walkers occur because there is a lack of adult supervision involved.
You can't watch them every single second.
And in seconds when no one was watching, 8-month-old Chase Wallace tumbled down a flight of steps in his walker, ending up with a brain hemorrhage that almost killed him.
I run into people who still want to buy them. It's like, just don't buy it. I beg you not to buy it. It's not worth seeing your child go through a terrible accident, and it's so much stress on a family you can't even imagine.
The decision on banning walkers will likely come in the next administration. Meanwhile, if you do put your baby in a walker, watch carefully so convenience doesn't turn into disaster. Rita Braver, CBS News, Washington.
The government is proposing a new crackdown on alcohol abuse by transportation workers. The Transportation Department wants random breath testing for the country's nearly 7 million airline, trucking, rail, and bus workers. The government estimates the test would save 1,200 lives over the next 10 years. Now from around the world, more CBS News. In Moscow, President Boris Yeltsin called for a referendum to decide whether he or the Russian Congress rules the country. If he loses, Yeltsin indicated he's prepared to resign and order a presidential election. In the German parliament, Chancellor Helmut Kohl denounced neo-Nazi violence against foreigners, and the government banned a second neo-Nazi group. As winter closes in on the Bosnian capital of Sarajevo, bread supplies are running very low, and there was no power or running water for the fourth straight day. Continued fighting has cut off food shipments, and it's keeping repair crews from restoring power. This was the scene in the American Midwest today. The storm that brought the snow is expected to merge with another over the southeast. Forecasters say it's the kind of wild weather you see once in a decade. And in Washington, President and Mrs. Bush lighted the national Christmas tree this evening, a living 38-foot Colorado blue spruce. And still ahead on the CBS Evening News, an advocate for women's issues in the Senate responds to charges he made unwanted advances toward women.
What I did was not just stupid or boorish. My actions were just plain wrong.
The Remington microscreen shaves as close as a blade or your money back. 2 flexible screens let you shave whiskers below skin level. It's quick, smooth, comfortable. A great value. The Remington microscreen.
Now you can take your favorite juice with all its great taste and stir in new Dristan juice mix-in. Dristan will ease your cough and nasal congestion and soothe your pain without drowsiness. New Dristan juice mix-in is the newest way to take care of your cold.
Everyone's looking for a good value these days. I'm no different. I'll buy bargain brands for some things, but when it's medicine I put in my body, especially a pain reliever, then I choose Advil. My doctor recommended it by name, and I've had it work on enough headaches to know it really does the job. The price? Advil can be only pennies per tablet, and if that's all it costs to help get rid of my pain, I call that real value. Advil, advanced medicine for pain.
Come morning, I need a cereal that wakes me up and gets me going. These are just flakes. Just looking at them makes me want to snooze. Hold on a minute. Simple, wholesome, tastes good. Heavens, yeah. This could put some giddy up in my get along. What do you call it?
Kellogg's Corn Flakes.
Kellogg's Corn Flakes? You got me, didn't you? I hate that.
Taste them again for the first time.
American troops establish a front line of help and hope. Dr. Bob Arnott reports live from Somalia tomorrow on CBS This Morning with Harry Smith and Paula Zahn.
Just last month, Bob Packwood was elected to his 5th term in the U.S. Senate. Now he's facing his toughest political fight yet. The Oregon Republican made his first public appearance today since more than a dozen women accused him of making unwanted sexual advances. Bruce Morton reports on what Senator Packwood said and didn't say.
Packwood, in his first public appearance since the sexual harassment story broke, apologized.
My conduct was wrong, and I apologize for that. My conduct was simply wrong.
But it was a limited apology. Packwood would not discuss the specific instances of harassment he's accused of and refused to answer questions about his reported efforts to discredit some of the women who made the charges.
I am not going to discuss the issue at all as to how I might characterize their conduct.
Packwood said he didn't get it then, but does now. Critics who watched in Oregon weren't buying his refusal to answer those questions.
It's his attempt to avoid it. He still doesn't get it. And that's the message. He still doesn't get it.
The only way that Bob Packwood can get the trust of the people of Oregon is to resign and run again and let the people of Oregon decide.
I have no intention of resigning at all.
Packwood's supporters point to his good voting record on women's issues.
I agree that his actions were completely inappropriate and wrong, but I think he truly has done a lot for the women's movement.
Not enough, though, to persuade Julie Williamson, who says Packwood grabbed at her clothes and kissed her in 1969.
I believe that this provides the U.S. Senate with an opportunity to show the people of America that even if Bob Packwood doesn't get it, as he says, they do.
Packwood today promised to cooperate with the Ethics Committee's investigation of the charges against him. Since the spectacle of the Anita Hill Clarence Thomas hearings, the Senate Ethics Committee is not likely to deal as gently with senators as it has in the past.
The Senate
publicly dealt with an issue in a similar fashion, not with one of the colleagues, and came out smelling like an outhouse. The Senate has been in disrepute and in disarray ever since.
The last Senate Ethics Committee chairman was defeated. The ranking Republican resigned, so we don't know who'll be in charge of this investigation. It's a tricky job, one most senators don't want. Bruce Morton, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Coming up next on the CBS Evening News, Dan Rather will be back with more from Somalia.
Just $15,995.
The Oldsmobile Special Edition Cutlass Supreme. It's all yours for a song. It's your money.
All families catch colds, even doctors' families. For Mrs. O'Connor's cold, her husband recommends Dimetap. Now there's something new. Dimetap liquid gels. Concentrated medicine that works fast. Doctors trust Dimetap for their families. Shouldn't you trust it for yours?
The Braun Oral-B Plaque Remover effectively removes plaque, a major cause of gum disease. It thoroughly cleans between each tooth and below the gum line, for teeth so clean, you'll feel it. The Braun Oral-B Plaque Remover.
Her name is Sarah, and she's lucky, because today she'll encounter egrets doing dances and alligators in the wild. She'll see how other moms take care of their kids. And she'll be doing this, recycling, through a program of the National Park Service and its recycling partner, Dow.
We can make a difference in what tomorrow brings.
Together with the National Park Service and folks like Sarah.
Dow lets you do great things.
Norelco says don't shave your legs, baby them. With Norelco's incredibly close, comfortable shave that leaves you baby smooth, baby soft. Norelco Lady Shave Razors, dry or wet, we make close comfortable.
Here's a great big idea. From Presto, professional salad shooter slicer shredder. Big capacity and power. Special blades to point and slice thick, slice thin, shred, even ripple cut. Right where you want. From Presto.
Day 2 of the American operation in Somalia. It was marked by accomplishment, but also by monsoon rains, frustration, and danger. The first shooting casualties, Somalis, are being treated tonight aboard an American hospital ship. This followed a clash at a checkpoint manned by French legionnaires. 2 Somalis were killed, 7 wounded. As word of this spreads, it will be interesting to see what the Somalis' reaction will be. There'll be more about the American involvement in Somalia later tonight on Ed Bradley's Street Stories. That'll be at 9 in the East and West, 8 in the Central Time Zone. For the CBS Evening News, Dan Rather reporting. Tonight from Mogadishu, Somalia. Good night.
Experience CBS News. The economy's doing better, right? So how are you doing? We asked business leaders what they think. Don't uncork the champagne till you see the Money Crunch tomorrow on the CBS Evening News.